Local, late-breaking. This is WTVA 9 News.
Storms are a hot topic in Mississippi today, and coming up, I'll talk about a grant that's helping people in Tupelo take shelter during future storms.
And it's Cindy, 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 and our weather forecast could see some heavy rain, even some isolated tornadoes.
And later, a family's hopes quickly turn sour as police discover a nightmare.
Plus, a traffic stop leads to K-9 units searching the woods, what police are after, and how you can help. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Katrina Berry.
And I'm Bill Hughes. Today is Wednesday, June the 21st. Emma Packard standing by this morning with more on the grant to help build that safe room at Tupelo High School.
But first, let's check in with meteorologist John DeLucic for a look at what's going on right now. John, how is Cindy affecting us?
Well, Cindy most likely will affect us gradually as we go through the next day or so, and then we will see some pretty good patches as we go later tonight into portions of your Thursday and Friday, along with some potential for some severe weather at times. Isolated tornadoes, not out of the question. Upper 60s, lower 70s for the most part out there. Not much yet from Cindy in our viewing area. A lot of cloud cover. But the rain, at least the greater part of the rain, off to our south along coastal sections, and that's where you have a tornado watch. And every now and then we've seen a few tornado warnings in that portion of the world. Speaking of Cindy, well, Cindy is well into the Gulf of Mexico still, and still another 24 hours before it gets on shore here toward eastern sections of Texas and the western sections of Louisiana. Cindy at 60 miles an hour, gusts just below hurricane strength at 70 miles an hour. There you go. By Thursday morning, right along coastal sections. By Thursday afternoon, well to the southwest of Shreveport, and then north of Shreveport by Friday morning, and then taking a turn through the western sections of Tennessee as we go through Friday afternoon. And by Saturday, the center up around Nashville, we're on the right side. Not good to be on the right side. It's usually the wrong side. It's with the hail, not hail, the isolated tornadoes that we'll be dealing with and heavier rainfall at times. All the details coming up in just a few moments. Now back to Katrina and Bill.
The Mississippi Gulf Coast is now under a warning as Tropical Storm Cindy hovers in the Gulf of Mexico. Now we're expecting her to hit landfall tomorrow morning with a center crossing our area as early as Friday, which means the potential impact for heavy rain could play big in Mississippi. To help offset any problems Cindy may cause, MEMA has been making arrangements. MEMA Director Lee Smithson tells us every tropical storm is different.
Not a coastal event. It's a flood event that is going to impact up to a third, even more, maybe half of our state.
Even with that, the coastal counties have opened sandbag stations. People living in low-lying areas are encouraged to bring a shovel and fill up bags to protect their homes from high water.
While Tropical Storm Cindy heads towards the Gulf Coast, the federal government has announced a grant to help fund a safe room in Tupelo to make sure people can take shelter from severe weather. WTVA's Emma Packard joins us live with those details.
Thanks, Katrina. I'm at Tupelo High School, and this is where the over 12,000 square foot safe room will be. Now, this room will be able to hold up to 2,200 students, staff, and visitors and protect them from winds up to 250 miles per hour. Now, to put this in perspective, WTVA meteorologist John DeLucic tells me that 74-mile-per-hour winds are considered hurricane strength. Now, this room will be a $6.1 million project and now a $2.1 million Federal Emergency Management Agency mitigation grant will help with the cost. Now, officials believe this will be a great addition to a city that knows firsthand how damaging severe weather can be. Reporting live in Tupelo, Emma Packard, WTVA 9 News Today.
Thank you, Emma, for that report. In Scott County, the search for a missing 12-year-old has come to an end. WLBT reports that Mary Harrell's body was found about 24 hours ago. Police say it was in the general area where she went missing. Harrell was swimming with her family in Cypress Creek on Saturday when she was pulled underwater by the currents near the Lower Head Dam. And authorities and K-9 units are on the lookout for one man who disappeared into the woods. Bill Hughes has been following the developments of this story, plus two others that can help police capture the eluding suspects.
Authorities from both Itawamba and Lee counties are searching this morning for a man who led police on a chase. According to one Mississippi Highway Patrol officer, this began when an officer attempted a traffic stop, and that officer says as soon as the blue lights flashed, the suspect sped off on Interstate 22. Eventually, the suspect hopped out of the passenger side of the car and ran into the woods. K-9 units are also involved in this search. Also in Columbus, police need your help this morning to find a man wanted for mugging 3 women at gunpoint. Now, surveillance video shows 2 men, police say, robbed the women on 14th Street North, and one arrest has already been made. But they're still seeking 31-year-old Antonio Cortez Rowland of Bell Avenue. If you have any information that could help in this investigation, you're asked to call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers. The Alabama State Bureau of Investigation needs your help this morning. They're seeking any information regarding an armed robbery. The female in the picture shown is a person of interest. The robbery happened at the Marathon gas station at the intersection of Highway 80 and Alabama Highway 21 in Lowndes County, Alabama. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation.
Thank you, Bill. The man who police believe is connected to an officer-involved shooting in Yalobusha County is out on bail this morning. Sheriff Lance Humphreys says he's looking into possible ties with the 2 suspects killed in the shooting. Jason Skates was arrested last Friday and charged with possession of burglary tools. This case is still under investigation. And a Columbus police officer is on suspension this morning after a post to social media. This comes as the City Council voted to suspend Officer Jared Booth. It will last 28 working days for violating the city's social media policy. We've attempted to find out what Booth posted. However, his Facebook page is no longer public. City officials also declined to comment, citing this as a personnel matter. The time now is 6:05. Let's check in with meteorologist John DeLusick for a closer look at our Severe Weather Authority forecast. And John, it looks like we have clear skies right now, but that may not be the case later on.
Yeah, those clouds are starting to thicken up. There's some thin cloud cover out there as we speak, and yes, there are some breaks in that cloud cover. However, it's going to get thicker to cloud cover, along with our better chances for rain showers and thunderstorms gradually as we go through the day today and tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night and into Friday. Notice not much really yet in our viewing area. We got a lot of cloud cover, some breaks out there, and we're looking at, again, rain showers and thunderstorms becoming pretty likely as we go through time due to Cindy. Down along coastal sections, some isolated tornadoes as we speak. We'll see some of those possibly into our neck of the woods. Those isolated chances for tornadoes will be on the wrong side. Even though we're on the right side of Cindy, we're on the wrong side. You're looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds right now with gusts up to around 70. Like I said, Cindy moving off northwestward toward coastal sections of Texas by tomorrow morning. And then on the right side, the right quadrant, you don't want to be there. You want to be on the left side. You want to be where it's much better, the weather. But we'll be getting some heavier rain patches along with some isolated to widely scattered thunderstorms that could at times produce a weaker tornado or 2 across our area, and that'll go all the way into Friday. We'll talk all the weather details in just a few moments. Now back to Katrina and Bill.
Thank you, John. A second person has died following a fatal car accident in Tippah County. Nathaniel Dixon died at a Memphis hospital on Sunday. The accident occurred on June 12th on Highway 72 near Walnut. This is the second death following the wreck. Teresa Dixon died at the scene of the crash.
A horse in Monroe County lost its life after escaping from its corral. Police say that led to a vehicle colliding with the animal. Police say it happened on Egypt Road near Aberdeen. No word on the status of the driver. We're expecting road work to end today around noon for the westbound lane on Interstate 22. It's the outer westbound lane between Highway 30 and Highway 15 exit and the Blue Springs exit. The state tells us they're doing resurfacing work. As of now, drivers are dealing with 1 lane of traffic. Officials say some 180 Bruce customers are under a boil water advisory this morning. The advisory is in effect for Rogers Avenue, Countess Street, Hastings Street, Clay Street, North Newburger Street, Vance Street, Douglas Street, South McSwain Street, Pine Street, and Denton Street. Those affected are being told to boil their water for 1 minute before using it until the alert is lifted. Smoke plumes bellow from a blast that shucks debris throughout an entire block. We'll tell you what city has people recovering from this explosion.
And an unexpected landslide leaves 11 families grieving. Those details are just ahead.
And once again, Cindy is in our weather forecast, and Cindy could be a pretty interesting storm with some heavy rainfall and some isolated tornadoes. All the weather details in just a few moments.
Now, your WTVA Severe Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist John DeLusick.
Good morning, 6:10 right now, almost 6:11, and we're dealing with Cindy. Cindy will be affecting our world of weather as we go through the next couple of days, and could see some heavy rainfall and even some isolated tornadoes. So as we check out the weather forecast for today, well, things are going to start warming up, and you'll get that shocked look on your face. Well, I don't think you should be surprised. As we're working our way through the next couple of months, we'll be looking at that kind of weather, just humid weather and warm weather. There'll be some exceptions, and maybe next week with a little bit of cooler air trying to move its way into our area. Pretty humid this afternoon with the moisture increasing up ahead of Cindy, and yes, some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Notice our storm tracker showing you that activity as we go into the afternoon hours, 3 o'clock. Some pretty good patches out there of rain and embedded thunderstorm activity. I don't think much in the way of tornadic weather today across our area. We could see some of that tomorrow and into Friday as the center of Cindy off to our west and southwest will eventually work its way up through the Memphis area and eventually up into western Tennessee by later portions of Friday into portions of Saturday, and we'll be to the right of Cindy, and you don't want to be on the right side. You get a lot of this stuff, this messy rain shower and thunderstorm activity, and some of the thunderstorms will be on the heavier side as we go through time. Heavy rainfall, and again, some isolated tornadoes, not out of the question. More details in just a few moments. Now back to Bill and Katrina.
Nearly a dozen people are recovering this morning after being injured by turbulence on a United Airlines flight to Houston. United Flight 1031 from Panama City, Panama, ran into severe turbulence while flying east of Cancun. Emergency crews met the plane at the George Bush Intercontinental Airport, where firefighters treated up to 15 patients. Airline officials say that 10 people were taken to a local hospital for evaluation. And 5 people are recovering this morning after an underground explosion in downtown. Now, fire officials say their injuries are not serious. The explosion happened when a steam pipe exploded underneath the road near Oreo Park. The blast sent debris, including chunks of asphalt and dirt, across the entire block.
Republican Karen Handel wins the special congressional election in Georgia, fending off a challenge from Democrat Jon Ossoff. The closely fought contest was the most expensive House race ever at over $50 million spent by both sides. Handel will now fill the seat vacated by President Trump's Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price. We're expecting a judge to decide later today whether to release the names of the jurors who served on Bill Cosby's sexual assault trial. A mistrial was declared Saturday when the jury could not come to a unanimous verdict. Both prosecutors and defense attorneys want the names to remain sealed so they can select an impartial jury for the expected retrial. We're also expecting 2 inmates accused of killing 2 corrections officers to be in a Georgia courtroom later today. Those officers were shot down by one of them after escaping from a prison bus. 43-year-old Donnie Rowe and 24-year-old Ricky DeBose were captured Thursday in Tennessee, 2 days after their escape. The 2 waived extradition and are back in Georgia, where they'll face new charges for the deaths of the officers.
The latest terrorist incident in Europe ends after a Belgian troop kills a suspected suicide bomber. Now, it happened in Brussels, the central train station. There were no other casualties. The man set off a small explosion at the city's central station and was then shot by one of the routine military patrols active in Brussels since the attacks more than a year ago. And angry Greeks demonstrated in central Athens after calling on the government to quit over its economic reforms. About 2,000 citizens responded to a Facebook post by a group called Resign Now and blocked the streets around Parliament, chanting frauds and resign outside the building.
Several families are without loved ones this morning after part of a waterlogged hillside broke loose and slammed into homes and vehicles in western Guatemala. The landslide buried 2 houses, a small bus, and a truck near the border of Mexico. The 11 victims include 8 adults and 3 children. There were 4 other people injured and are being treated at a hospital.
And weather-wise, we'll be looking at a lot of cloud cover for today. Rain showers gradually increasing, and yes, we will see some heavier rainfall along with an isolated tornado or 2 later in the week. All the weather details in just a few moments.
Now, your WTVA Severe Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist John DeLusick.
Good morning. It's 6:17 and a lot of cloud cover out there. Maybe a few breaks, especially up toward the Tennessee state line. However, we're going to be looking at clouds thickening up today and getting some more rain showers and thunderstorms in our world of weather as we check out what's happening out there right now here in Tupelo. We've got ourselves a lot of cloud cover, just a few breaks. If you look very closely, a little bit of a breakup of the cloud cover out there, and you're looking at a little cursor right there also. I forgot to move that. So it's not flying around Tupelo like an unidentified flying object. We're looking at a temperature of 72 degrees. 69 is our dew point, so it's pretty stout. Humidity out there at 91%. East-southeast winds at 5 miles an hour. And you've got temperatures out there mostly upper 60s, lower 70s. And we are going to start warming up things a little later on today, still with a little bit of a breakup of the cloud cover at times, getting us into the 80s in most areas. Some towns may stay in the upper 70s. Especially across central sections of Mississippi into west central Alabama. Working our way southward, tornado watch and until later today, and that's just the beginning of things getting deteriorating along coastal sections with some heavier rainfall possibilities. You're looking at isolated tornadoes in the mix for today, and that activity moves farther north, all because of Cindy. As Jan used to say, Marsha, 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 we're saying Cindy, Cindy, Cindy. And again, I've used that joke already a couple of times this morning. I hope you're not getting tired of it. But it's not often that you get a hurricane or tropical storm Cindy. This is Tropical Storm Cindy. Most likely stays a tropical storm. Maybe could strengthen closer to hurricane strength. It's at 60 miles an hour right now with gusts up to 70 to 75. So the gusts are at least approaching hurricane strength. It's moving off northwestward, heading toward Beaumont, Port Arthur, Texas, and that'll be the story for tomorrow morning, and then staying along the Texas-Louisiana border region until about later portions of tomorrow night into portions of Friday, and then moving its way right through the Lamar and Winchester area of Memphis, and then eventually up toward Nashville, Tennessee. Now, this blue area, that could mean at any one given time Cindy could be on either side of that main track. So that means it could be as far south as Monroe County or Chickasaw County, or it could be as far north as Paducah, Kentucky. When it gets down to the finer points, it's a little hard to place exactly where Cindy will be, but most likely will be somewhere to our north and west. And as it stays off to our north and west, severe weather possibilities. There you go. Increasing across our area. We'll see some scattered showers and thunderstorms that could at times become on the hefty side as we go into portions of your, more or less portions of your tomorrow evening into portions of tomorrow night, and into Friday we'll see some isolated, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms that could at times produce some isolated tornadoes into Friday. And there you go. Watch what happens. This activity just moving off northward, and we'll be looking at some patches of rain showers and thunderstorms, some of which will be on the hefty side. Again, these are not your big-time tornadoes. These are not your springtime tornadoes, whatever happens from this. This will be the activity that's going to be in the ways of isolated tornadoes, and again, some brief gusty winds from that, and maybe a weaker tornado or two again as we go through time. Now, again, the other story will be the patches of heavier rainfall. And that'll be all the way from later today through tonight, tomorrow, through tomorrow night, and into Friday. Tapering off on Saturday and Sunday with front pushing through on Sunday evening. After that, we dry things out. That's a look at weather. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're watching WTVA 9 News Today with anchors Katrina Berry, Bill Hughes, and meteorologist Joel Young.
Welcome back. Amazon is evolving its fashion retail division online with the launch of a wardrobe subscription service. Now, it's called Prime Wardrobe. It allows customers to order items at no upfront charge, receive the order, and only pay for what they want to keep. Shoppers have 7 days to decide what they don't want and ship it back for free in a resealable box with a prepaid shipping label. Amazon says the service will feature more than 1 million fashion items, including brands outside of Amazon's private labels.
I love it. As Uber looks to polish its image by taking a new direction, for the first time, they are adding an option to tip your driver. Uber is enabling passengers to tip its drivers in the U.S. with a tap on its ride-hailing app. Now, riders won't be required to tip, but can choose from different suggested tip amounts or even enter their own.
Good morning, 6:24 right now, and once again you've heard this name mentioned many times so far in the last couple of hours if you've been watching us. Cindy, and Cindy is not yet into our area. It's still way out in the Gulf of Mexico. However, will affect our weather gradually over the next couple of days, and we're looking at some of the northern sections of Cindy reaching into southern sections of our viewing area right now, into portions of Noxubee County and southern sections of Winston County with some light rain showers. However, the heavier stuff in patchy form along coastal sections, even some isolated tornadoes, that's the stuff we'll have to deal with. The heavier rainfall in patchy form along with isolated tornadoes as we end up to the east of Cindy. And as a matter of fact, there's Cindy right now at 60 miles an hour with gusts up to 65 to 70, even a little bit higher at times. Again, heading off northwestward, right toward the coastal sections where Beaumont, Port Arthur, Texas are roughly by tomorrow morning at this time, moving off northward along the Texas-Louisiana border region, and then eventually working its way up toward the Memphis area and up toward the Nashville area. And again, we're to the right and to the east of Cindy, and that means heavier rainfall at times and some isolated tornadoes not out of the question. After that, we clear things out later in the weekend. That's a look at weather. Here are Bill and Katrina.
With only 6 months to live, a man's dying wish leads to his first saddle up, what his family is doing to fulfill his final days.
2 men are accused of stealing from a couple who hired them to do home repairs, and police don't want this to happen to anyone else. I'll talk about some of the warning signs after the break.
You're watching WTVA 9 News Today with anchors Katrina Berry, Bill Hughes, and meteorologist Joel Young.
Repairmen swindle an elderly couple out of money, jewelry, and lawn care equipment. Emma Packard is live with tips that police have to help keep you and your loved ones safe.
A teen fires nearly 30 rounds at a car. The victim, his mother, what authorities are saying that caused her son to respond with a gun.
And a large Civil War donation will transform a local university into one of the nation's leading American Civil War research destinations. Which college and how many millions it will receive to take on that title? Thanks for making WTVA 9 News Today part of your morning. I'm Katrina Berry.
And I'm Bill Hughes. The time is now 6:29, and John DeLusick is here, and we've been talking about what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico. That's really going to affect us here at home.
It will. I think with heavier rainfall, isolated tornadoes, and we will be looking at, again, rainfall amounts that could be several inches of rainfall, especially the farther south you are, as we check out what's happening out there right now. You can see not much yet happening. Just a few showers so far. Note I said so far, because things will change. See the patches of rain along with some embedded heavier thunderstorms? That's off to our south. And right now, tornado watch anywhere from Baton Rouge through New Orleans over through coastal sections of Mississippi and Alabama and into the panhandle of Florida. This tornado watch will most likely be stretched northward gradually as we go through time, because the potential is with the storm system, usually when you're on the right northeast quadrant of the storm system, you're not in a good place, and that's where we will end up being. There you go, Cindy at 60 miles an hour. We're going to be looking at gusts at times approaching hurricane strength. It could strengthen a little more as it works its way up into coastal sections of Texas and southwestern Louisiana by tomorrow morning this time, and then moving its way right through the Memphis area and into western sections of Tennessee. And we're to the east and to the northeast, eventually just to the southeast of Cindy's track, and that's not a good place. They will get some of these isolated tornadoes in our world of weather as we go through time, so we need to watch out for that as we go through later tonight, tomorrow into Friday, and certainly we'll keep you advised as we go through time. These will not be those big monsters that we get in springtime. This will be the isolated spin-up tornadoes if they do happen. Down the line, we clear things out. That's a look at weather. Here are Bill and Katrina.
Thanks, John. 2 men are facing charges after police say they stole from an elderly couple in Prentiss County. Now, police are giving some warning signs so this doesn't happen again. WTVA's Emma Packard joins us live with what to watch for.
Yeah, Bill, I think the most surprising detail in this case is that the 2 men were hired to do home repairs for the couple, but instead of their wages, they got away with cash, jewelry, guns, and lawn equipment. Now take a look. These are the 2 men. They are Jonathan Gross and Kendall Tackett, both of Guntown, and they're both charged with burglary and grand larceny. Now authorities are offering some tips to avoid home improvement scammers. Now here are a few of the warning signs. Avoid those who offer discounts for finding other customers, those who have no business number in the local telephone directory, and those who pressure you for immediate decisions. Now, for a full list of the warning signs, visit our website, WTVA.com. The Prentiss County Sheriff says if any of these signs pop up in the initial conversation, it's probably best to shy away from their offer. Reporting live, I'm Emma Packard, WTVA 9 News Today.
A Tennessee mother's in intensive care this morning after her 18-year-old son opened fire on her with an assault rifle. 18-year-old Paul Harold Nunnally reportedly gunned her down with an AR-15 as she tried to flee the family home in a vehicle. Investigators say Nunnally fired nearly 30 rounds at the car. The mother suffered one shot to the head and is recovering in a Chattanooga hospital. So far, authorities have not said what the two were fighting about.
A man accused of carrying more than 100 pounds of marijuana pleads not guilty. Police say the sale was intended for spring breakers. 36-year-old DeAndre Dier Marks was arrested during a traffic stop in Gulfport. The estimated street value is nearly $250,000. He's scheduled for trial on July 24th.
A man sits behind bars this morning with 7 years tacked onto a sentence for child exploitation. Brian Kemp of Boonville was indicted last year. He pleaded guilty last week in Prentiss County. Upon release, the 46-year-old will have to register as a sex offender. A former South Haven mayor is not guilty this morning on felony fraud and embezzlement charges. Greg Davis has been on trial this week in Oxford. Now, the verdict comes in the second day of Davis's retrial. It reversed his 2014 conviction on both charges. Davis was accused of illegally purchasing a city-owned SUV without approval. He had also accusations of being reimbursed for mileage purchased on a city-issued card.
In Okolona, we're waiting to hear this morning a court date for the man who filed a lawsuit after losing the race for city marshal. Now, it was a tight race. Tommy Ivy Sr. barely lost to William Randall. Now we've learned that Ivy has filed a petition challenging the affidavit count in Chickasaw County Circuit Court. Ivy contends that there were county residents voting in the city, which is illegal. Ivy says he does not want another election. He just wants the affidavit ballots to be recounted. And one Columbus City Council member is calling for a $3,000 pay raise this morning. It was made in a motion by City Councilman Joseph Mickens. One other councilman, Gene Taylor, also voted in favor of the move. The rest voted no. The proposal would change the salary from $17,500 to $20,500 annually. Councilman Stephen Jones and Bill Gavin say they're not in the job for the money.
And Alabama residents have been awarded this morning with close to $1 million in grants to help reduce home utility bills. Funds will be primarily given to people with disabilities, the elderly, and low-income households with children. 16 community agencies across the state will manage the program at the local level. Not everyone agrees with President Trump's recent rollback on relations with Cuba. In fact, former Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture says new changes could do more harm than good. Mike Espy also spearheads a delegation to increase trade with Cuba. He tells us the policy is unfortunate, misguided, and just plain wrong. Among new changes, Americans will no longer be allowed to take individual trips to Cuba. Instead, guided tours with a group will be approved.
You can take a flight there and get there in 90 minutes. You can take a Carnival cruise line and get there in 4 hours. And you can have the benefit of experiencing what Cuba has to offer. And so I think that this is not going to do anything, not harming Cubans, it's going to harm Americans.
The former U.S. Secretary of Agriculture's advice to President Trump is engage Cuba, not cut back from them. And the time is now 6:35. Let's check in with meteorologist John DeLucic for a closer look at our severe weather authority forecast. Kind of hazy and a little bit cloudy out there right now.
That's right, and that's just the beginnings of what will be a very cloudy time with a few breaks every now and then. And yes, rain showers and thunderstorms. Some of the rain will be heavy. Some of the thunderstorms will produce a little bit of isolated tornado activity. That's already happening down along coastal sections, but right now Starkville's still in pretty good shape. We're looking at temperatures are mostly in the lower 70s around the Starkville area, and we're looking at nice, mostly cloudy skies out there. Mostly cloudy over most of the region, partly cloudy up toward the Tennessee state line, and fog very minimal this morning. A little bit of fog found west of Oxford over toward the Batesville area. Temperatures upper 60s, lower 70s, already getting some light rain showers over central sections of Mississippi into west central sections of Alabama. The heavier stuff, again, off to our south. Isolated tornadoes, not out of the question as we go through the day today. Some of that, again, will head our way as we go through later tonight, tomorrow night, and into Friday with the storm system along with some heavier rainfall. Today, scattered to patchy areas of rain showers and even some isolated thunderstorms gradually developing and moving northward. Temperature-wise, 80s, maybe some towns staying in the upper 70s. That's a look at weather. Back to Katrina and Bill.
6 students from North Mississippi this morning are awarded the Toyota Haley Barber Scholarship. Now, this comes from Mississippi State University. The university honors incoming freshmen with the award every year to help with tuition costs. Each student will receive over $32,000 over the course of 4 years. To qualify, students must be graduating high school seniors from Northeast Mississippi, hold a 3.0 GPA, and pursue a degree in math or science. And officials say a large Civil War donation will transform the Mississippi State University into one of the nation's leading American Civil War research destinations. The nearly $3 million collection features priceless artifacts, signed documents, and books and artwork from the Civil War era. With only 6 months to live, a man's dying wish leads to his first saddle up. Emma Packard is following the story and their family and the plans to fulfill his final days.
And it's 6:37, and Tropical Storm Cindy will affect our world of weather with some heavy rainfall, even some isolated tornadoes over the next couple of days. All the weather details in just a few moments.
Now, your WTVA Severe Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist John DeLusick.
Good morning, Wednesday morning, 6:40 right now, and our password for today is Cindy. That's like the old, again, Password TV series. I know I'm dating myself from back in the 1970s, Alan Ludden. You're saying who? Well, he was married to Betty White, if you did not know that, but he passed away many years ago, and Betty White's still going on, middle 90s and still going on. Well, I've digressed enough into the world of entertainment now. Let's go back to the world of real entertainment, the world of weather. Now, you're looking at upper 60s, lower 70s out there. And then, yes, some entertaining areas of thunderstorms, some of which are producing the special guest star of tornadoes over portions of Panhandle of Florida and also down here around the New Orleans area. So we'll be watching those storms as they head off northward. That's because of Cindy. Cindy at 60 miles an hour right now, well in the Gulf of Mexico, will work its way northward and northwestward toward Beaumont, Port Arthur, Texas by tomorrow morning, and eventually moving its way into our neck of the woods as we go through time and increasing our chances for some rain showers and even some isolated tornadoes at times over the next couple of days, especially tomorrow and Friday. More details coming up in just a few moments. Now back to Bill and Katrina.
A Texas man is in Mississippi to fulfill a bucket list wish. WTVA's Emma Packard joins us live with those details.
Yeah, Katrina, a man with a failing heart is getting to do the things he's always wanted, and that's brought him to Houston. Take a look. This is 21-year-old Anthony Girk from Port Lavaca, Texas. And thanks to those stinking gyms in Houston, he can now cross riding a horse off of his bucket list. Now, Anthony is a heart transplant recipient, but he says his new heart has been struggling to beat for the past few years. Now he says he only has 6 months to live, but his family members say he's making the most of the time he has left.
We have a gift that we know it's going to happen. So we have that time that we can make memories, so we have no regrets.
Anthony's list also includes going to Florida to see the parents of the person who gave him his heart, and we wish Anthony a safe trip. Reporting live, I'm Emma Packard, WTVA 9 News Today.
Thank you, Emma, for that report. Amazing, heartfelt story. Mississippi celebrates its 200th year, and those who want to participate in any of the festivities can do so this coming week. But at the Union County Heritage Museum, they're already ahead of schedule. 3rd and 4th graders there celebrated by learning about the Magnolia State's history, and one educator got the children to mark the Natchez Trace Trail on a huge 16 by 20 map. Now, this is the first time an event like this has been held at the museum.
It's so awesome. Of course, this year is the bicentennial, so it's a great hook to get the kids something that they can physically become a part of.
And for those who want to celebrate the bicentennial can do so at the University of Mississippi. Entertainment on the Grove stage will kick off at 5 p.m. on Saturday, and we are waiting to see if that event will still be held due to the inclement weather.
For those looking for summer adventures, good news, they can be found not far from your home. There are 25 state parks in the Magnolia State. Officials say over 1 million people a year visit. Families can stay in cabins or bring their RVs to the campsites. There's everything to do from picnicking to hiking and swimming. But for one lady, it's all about fishing. She casts her line often at state parks near her home.
I love to come because they're clean, quiet, and I feel more safe here, and I catch fish.
June 24th is the Great American Campout, and officials hope you and your family will come out to a state park near you for a day of fun. It's Miss Mississippi Week in Vicksburg, and the preliminary competition begins today. 44 women are competing from across the state for a chance to represent the Magnolia State in the Miss America pageant. So be sure to watch the crowning live this Saturday at 8 p.m. on ABC WTVA. Aldi will host a job fair today at the Bancorp South Conference Center. That is behind the Hilton Garden Inn. The grocery store chain will be hiring store associates, shift managers, and manager trainees. It will be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. today.
And weather-wise, I've totally forgotten to mention that today is the first full day of summer because Cindy's been so overwhelming the weather forecast. So indeed, on this first full day, we do introduce more chances for rain and thunderstorms due to Cindy in just a few moments.
Now, your WTVA Severe Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Joel Young.
And Joel enjoying the evenings now, and I'm here for the mornings. And weather-wise this morning, we're dealing with Cindy. Here it is, 6:47 in the morning on your Wednesday morning, and Cindy will be affecting our world of weather as we go through the next couple of days and giving us a lot of rainfall in patchy form along with some isolated tornadoes. How about that? And there you go, live in Tupelo right now. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies, 72 degrees. Wind east-southeast at 5 miles an hour, and we're looking at not much in the way of rainfall yet. Notice I underlined that yet, because I think we've only seen a few showers so far over central Mississippi into west central sections of Alabama of our viewing area. But just south of our area, Jackson, Meridian, some light to moderate rainfall. And then we introduce the severe weather in isolated, scattered forms. Panhandle of Florida, every now and then down here along Mississippi, Alabama, Gulf Coast, and every now and then into portions of Louisiana, hence a tornado watch. And every now and then a few tornado warnings happening, all due to Cindy. Cindy at 60 miles an hour right now with gusts up to 70, 75 miles an hour, headed toward more or less southeastern coastal Texas, southwestern Louisiana tomorrow morning about this time. And then moving its way northward along the Texas-Louisiana border, and then taking a little bit of a right turn over into southern sections of Arkansas by Friday morning, and then by Friday afternoon late up around the Lamar and Winchester area of Memphis, and then working its way into more or less Nashville area as we work our way into Friday night and Saturday morning. Now that's if this track stays as it's supposed to, we'll get some severe weather. Today, a lot of severe weather along coastal sections. Tomorrow, from roughly, let's say, you're looking at western sections of our viewing area to most of Louisiana and to southwestern Mississippi, seeing some isolated tornadoes, lesser chances the farther north and east you are, and that's a lot of our viewing area. And then on your Friday, I think our best bet for some isolated tornadoes on our Friday as we go through time. So we'll be watching that. Now watch what happens. Rain showers and thunderstorms keep flowing their way northward from the Gulf of Mexico ahead of Cindy and eventually along that low pressure area as we go through most of the weekend. This is through your Thursday, and as we work our way into portions of our Friday, we'll be looking at some more patches of rain showers and thunderstorms. The heaviest by far will be Thursday and Friday. And after that, we more or less see lesser chances as a cold front sweeps through our area. That's a look at weather. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're watching WTVA 9 News Today with anchors Katrina Berry, Bill Hughes, and meteorologist Joel Young.
And welcome back to WTVA 9 News Today. I'm Bill Hughes.
And I'm Katrina Berry. The time now is 6:51, and here's what you need to know as you head out the door this morning. Now, this just in, we've got breaking news. Tishomingo County Sheriff John Daugherty says 2 Tishomingo County jail escapees have been captured. The 2 are identified as 26-year-old Jonathan Ham and 23-year-old Isaac Bennett.
They were captured in Las Vegas in a stolen car. We should have more information on this later on today.
The 2 managed to escape 1 week ago on June 14th, and we will have a live report at our WTVA 9 News at noon. And stay with us. We'll have another final check of our weather when we come back. And welcome back. We want a quick look at some of the stories that we're following this morning.
That's right. Columbus police need your help this morning finding a man who wanted for mugging 3 women at gunpoint. Surveillance video shows the 2 men police say robbed women on 14th Street North. 1 arrest has already been made, but they're still seeking 31-year-old Antonio Cortez Rowland of Bell Avenue. Authorities
from both Itawamba and Lee counties are searching this morning for a man who led police on a chase. The Mississippi Highway Patrol says the suspect sped off after an attempted traffic stop on Interstate 22. Eventually, the suspect hopped out the passenger side of the car and ran into the woods.
So, John, let's talk a little bit about weather, because Cindy is causing a lot of problems in the Gulf, and it could be causing problems for us too.
That is correct. Most likely we'll get some of that heavy rainfall, some isolated tornadoes. You can see the 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is the latest update here shortly before 7 o'clock. You're looking at the barometric pressure now down to 996 millibars. That's showing a little bit of strengthening, but still at 60 miles an hour with gusts up to around 70. So a pretty stout little tropical storm that's spreading rain all the way up already up into southern sections of our viewing area, and it'll continue to throw rain our way as it moves through coastal sections tomorrow morning around this time and right around the Beaumont Port Arthur area, then north of Shreveport by Friday morning, and then by Saturday morning already east of Nashville. And we're to the right of this storm system, and that means plenty of patchy rainfall along with some embedded areas of thunderstorms. A few of these thunderstorms at times could produce a little bit of tornadic activity. We could see a few, again, of these spin-up tornadoes. These will not be the big monsters that we get during the middle of spring that could be EF4s, EF5s. These will be the weaker end, but still, a weaker end tornado can still ruin your day if it does happen, and that's already been happening down along coastal sections, and we will be looking at some of that activity through our neck of the woods, especially later tomorrow into portions of Friday. After that, front moves in, sweeps everything out, and we're left drier and not too shabby for morning lows down into the middle 60s and lower humidity values Monday and Tuesday with highs in the 80s. All right?
All right, so we're really kind of hoping that maybe some of this, especially for the weekend, does remain scattered. There's a lot of events happening on Saturday. Indeed. Freedom Fest in New Albany, the Bicentennial Celebration in Oxford at the Grove. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that.
So fingers crossed, scattered.
Exactly. Thanks, John. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. Remember, we're always on and always free at WTVA.com.
The Today Show is next on WTVA, and Good Morning America is next on ABC WTVA. And be sure to join us for our next newscast at noon. For everyone here at WTVA, have a great day.